Suzanne Paul, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you, Dom. Great to be here.
We were talking just out before. I feel like I know you so well, but I'm not sure if this might be the first time we've met.
I know. I was thinking about that, and I thought, well, surely we must have met before. We've both been around for ages, haven't we? So that's very odd that we have never met before.
Yeah. I've done so much research for this chat, and I'm so excited to get into it because your life story, it's just such a rich tapestry. And I think I'm really keen to try and tap into your brains and figure out from your experiences, the good and the bad, what the rest of us can get out of it. Because there's been so much adversity, so many very big highs, but very big rock bottoms as well. And you're just so resilient, and you just keep bouncing back.
I do. Yes.
It's a hell of a story. By the way, on the car on the way here, did you say happy, happy, joy, joy, sparkle and shine?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so that's an actual thing. You do that?
Yeah, and a lot of people I work with now in the film industry, they'll say it as well now. Ready, Suzanne? Happy, happy, joy, joy, sparkle and shine. I'll be like, yeah, sparkle and shine, here we go.
So that's your mantra. So I guess there's a degree of fake it till you make it in there, which is something that has, I think, been a thread through your entire life. How long have you been doing happy, happy, joy, joy, sparkle and shine?
Oh my gosh, more 40 years,
wow.
50 years, yeah. Always.
And you do it when you wake up in the morning, or just when you're in a car about to go to something?
Yeah, if I'm about to do something, if I'm about to walk into a room of people, I think to myself, and sometimes I'll just cut it down to, this is it, sparkle and shine, sparkle and shine. I do a lot of keynote speaking, so I'll say that to myself before I go up, this is it. Happy, happy, joy, joy, sparkle and shine. Dancing with the stars, I said it before that, backstage. Sometimes I say it out loud, sometimes to myself, sometimes I'll say it to other people. Come on, sparkle and shine. And to me, it encompasses a lot of things. It really means this is it. Do your best that you can. Give it your best shot. Be happy. Do you know what I mean? Lift your game up, be the best version of yourself that you can be, sort of thing. So it's all in that to me. And sometimes I've only got to think it, and that's it. I'm like switched on, ready to go. And
it's worked. It might seem a little bit woo-woo for some people, but you just, despite all the knockbacks you've had in your life, you just keep getting back up. And you're 68 in November.
Something like that. It could be 67. The reason I don't know is I've got something called dyscalculia, which is probably not on your notes, but we could talk about that later. I'm not very good with numbers, but I'm in the late 60s, yes.
Right. And you're still, enthusiastic, and you've got a lot of drive. And
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so you're not putting on the slippers.
Oh, God, no. Although I do have lots of nice slippers, pink, fluffy, sparkly ones generally.
Yeah. All right. So let's go right back. So Sue Barnes from a place called Wolverhampton. Tell her about her. It was quite a shit early few years, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I was from, they used to call it a broken home then. I'm sure they don't use that expression now. And it was very unusual back in the day for you to grow up without two parents. Now it's commonplace. They've got two parents, three, they've got four, haven't they? Two mums, two dads, anything's going.
Yeah, modern family stuff.
But then it just wasn't done. And my mum left, she left a few times, but she went for good, I don't know, I was about 7 and my brother was 8. So it was quite a big thing that we only had a dad. And he worked in a factory, and it was shift work, so there was a lot of times he was there and a lot of times he wasn't there. So we were also known as latchkey kids, because that meant you came home with we had a door key, and a piece of string. Let yourself in, get a jam sandwich for your tea, go out and play till it got dark, come in, light the fire. I don't know how we didn't burn the house down. I mean, it's probably illegal now, but me and my brother,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done it, but you have to put the wood on, then the coal on, then light it, and then hold a piece of newspaper in front of it. They call it drawing the fire to get the wind. I don't know how we didn't set the place alight.
So that was you and your brother, so sort of 7 and 8. So what's, did you have much to do with your mum after that?
I did later on in life, yes, and I actually went to live with her when I was 16. So she reconnected when I was about 11, I think. But for several years, it was mainly just me, my brother and my dad. And we were very poor. So we only had that one income, which a factory income wasn't much. I had the same school uniform the day I left as the day I started. And we were just very scruffy, and I had National Health milk bottle glasses, and it was very different world back then. Teachers didn't really know, I don't know. When I look back now, I think it was actually very cruel how I was treated, because I wasn't allowed to take part in a lot of things that were going on in the school. And but it put a fire in my belly, it gave me that resilience. So I was never allowed to take part in the cookery class because I didn't have the ingredients. We couldn't afford it. So I had to just stand and watch the other girls cooking. I stood and watched the other girls play tennis because I didn't have the right outfit. I stood and watched them play hockey because I didn't have, and they just wouldn't let you take part in anything if you didn't have the right things. And then I was never allowed on any school trips. And I remember one when I was 11, and that probably, even at that age, changed my whole life. Because the one day the teacher said to me, "No, you are going on this trip." And there she was with the clipboard. She says, "I've got your name. It's on here. We're going to the Yorkshire Potteries." I'm like, "Really? Oh, this is amazing. We're going on the coach. We're going to the Yorkshire Potteries." I was like beside myself. And then when we got there, we pulled up, and as they're all filing off the coach, she literally went, "Oh, no, hang on, stop. No, I've got it wrong. No, your dad didn't pay. No, I made a mistake. You'll have to stay on the coach." Right. I wanted the floor to swallow me up. It was humiliating, degrading. I've just felt, it was the worst thing ever. And all these kids went in, and I stayed on the coach with the driver, who gave me some of his sandwich. I know.
So did it feel you look back now, and obviously that's so entirely inappropriate, but did it feel humiliating at the time? You remember it?
Yeah, I remember thinking, this is humiliating. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed I haven't got the money to do what they're doing. And so I made my mind up at a very early age. This isn't right. I'm not having this. I'm just not being able to take part in life properly because I don't have the money. So obviously, going forward, I need to do something about that. I need to get the money.
Yeah. I read about you somewhere, and I can relate to this because I'm the same. I also have an unhealthy relationship or an obsession even with money. Like, I think my upbringing was very different to yours, just very middle class New Zealand, but it always felt like we were poor. We never had the things that other families or other kids had.
Yes.
And I don't know if a lot of that's in my own head or how it was, but for me it's established like an unhealthy relationship with money. And I listen to podcasts and people say, "Oh, money's just money, it's no big deal." And I'm thinking, well, fuck, it's easy for you to say that because you've got heaps.
I know. People used to say to me back in the day, "You can't let money motivate you." I'm like, why not? It really gets me out of bed because I've got to earn this money, because I've got to pay I've nobody to look after me here. I've got to somehow get enough money and pay rent and buy food and get electricity. There's nobody coming to save me. This is, just up to me. I knew that from early age.
Yeah, and I like to be quite altruistic as well. And I think you need money to do that, to look after your friends and things like that. So your parents, like, did you end up having a good relationship with them, or did you sort of have a chip on your shoulder? I mean, your dad obviously did the best he could with the limited means.
Yes, that's what I always thought. And when you're brought up in that working class environment, nobody expects anything else. Nobody else did expect. There was a lot of kids down our street. So I'd say they were the same as us, except they had the two parents, But nobody had much. Nobody had a car. Nobody had a telephone. But then you could see, everybody always had a television, of course, and so you could see on the television, well, people do live a different life when they've got money. But no, I wasn't resentful. In fact, I the other way, I thought when I've got the money, I'll make sure, my dad's all right, my mum's all right, my brother's all right. I wanted everybody to, be all right, sort of thing.
Well, that's the good thing about being successful, eh? You can share the success. It's part of the fun.
Yeah.
But just where did that come from? Like that goal setting and that drive? Because I read you were a goal setter from like the age of 12, right?
Yeah.
And you had like a list of plans, and number 39 on the plan list was come to New Zealand.
Here, yeah.
We'll get to that later, but it'd be very easy for you just to go, well, this is my lot in life. I mean, I get a job in a factory like everyone else. And
I know. I just don't know why. I just thought, no, I'm not having it. I just always long. And it was very difficult to escape that working class environment, because even if you were to say to people, which I did, people down our street or various aunts, uncles, my dad, yeah, no, I'm not working in the factory. I'm not doing that. And I'm not going on the dole. I might go to London and be a secretary, and they'll be like, have you heard yourself? Go to London. Go to London. Yeah. You can't go to London. Why not? How are you going to get to London? It was like, I said, well, I could go on the train. On the train? Have you heard us going on the train now? Oh, you've got a bob on yourself. What do you think? You're better than us. It was on them all like, oh, calm down. You know what I mean? It was just out of the question for them. And they thought there was something wrong with me. You think, you're better than us. Well, is that
an element of the tall poppy syndrome? You must have heard that here in New Zealand. Is that a thing as well? It's different. They don't want to knock you down. I don't know. It's just out of the possibility. That's where you're born. That's, their family was born there. You're born poor and you die poor. They didn't know of anybody else that had made it. So they had no reference, like he did. He went off and made a fortune or did this thing. It's all like, you can't do it. You're working class, and everybody knows you're working class because of the way you speak. You can't suddenly go and be a doctor's receptionist, hello, have you come for your appointment? What's wrong with you? They'd be all like, my God. So the accents, it does sort of keep you in your place. Well, it used to in those days. And people saying, you've got a bob on yourself. In hindsight, do you think they're like managing your expectations? Or is it like maybe a bit of envy because they're seeing you trying to make something of yourself and they're trying to sort of hold you back?
I don't know. I don't think they did it deliberately. And over the years, as I came and went, I'm off to Blackpool, I'm going to do this, that and the other, plan number 6 or something. And then a year later I'd be back and they'd be like, didn't work out then. Told you. It's just nonsense. You can't just be gallivanting off round the country. Why not? Because look what's happened now. You put your name down for a council house, get married, have a child, be sensible. You're just being silly. And it was all of this. And I'll be like, no, well, I know it didn't work out in Blackpool, but I've got another plan. I'm going to Brighton. I think Brighton's where I ended up living everywhere for 3 months, 6 months, a year. And then if it didn't work out, I never thought it was me for some reason. I always thought, right, I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong product because I was selling stuff. So I thought, it's just a matter, I'll just move somewhere else. And then I could be in the right place. So it was all, I couldn't see how people looked at things and they'd be like, what if it all goes wrong? And I'd be like, what if it all goes right? See? Even when I went to Australia, I went for an interview, which my dad thought was ridiculous. Going to Australia for an interview. I've never nearly had a conniption. He's like, what if you don't get the job? And I'm like, what if I do? What if you don't earn any money? Yeah, but what if I do? What if you can't find anywhere to live? What if I can find somewhere to live and it's great? What, you don't know anybody there? What if you don't have any friends? What if I do? And I just kept going the other way.
It's like a glass half full attitude.
It was.
It's funny that you say that though. There was a movie made about Richie McCaw, the All Black a few years ago. And he said that exact same thing. He was talking about the 2011 Rugby World Cup, which New Zealand won in the final after not winning it for years and years and years. And he said people would say to him all the time, what if you don't win? And he goes, yeah, but what if we do?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I know.
He stole it from you.
He did.
So was it, with every failed plan, was it embarrassing going back to Wolverhampton?
Sort of, but not really. A failure never worried me. For everybody else, it was a big thing. It was like, oh, you're a failure. I'm like, no, I'm not a failure. I failed. I failed at that in that place, and so I can have another go and try something else. It's not the end of the world. Nobody died, It just all went wrong. That's all right, can have another go. And I was always, I don't know, of a mind in, somebody up there knows what they're doing. That's what I would say. If that wasn't meant to be, it just means there's somewhere better that I'm supposed to be, you see? And so I was always very philosophical about it.
You just knew you were destined for
I just
more.
knew. I just knew if I carried on, I kept saying, don't matter how many times you fail, does it? You only got to succeed the once. Just carry on.
Absolutely. And I've sort of reassessed my personal thoughts on failure over the last few years, and I do see it now as a stepping stone to success. And the only time you absolutely, truly, definitely fail is when you give up.
Yeah. I used to be saying to people, it's not the end of the road, you know. Oh, I failed, that's it. Okay, give everything that. It's just part of the journey. If you're successful, that's part of the journey. You fail, that's part of the journey, and the journey doesn't end till you die.
So you were 35 when you got to number 39 on your list of plans.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of knockbacks. So 35 years old, and you arrive in New Zealand. I've heard two different stories: $15 or $18 to your name.
Yes, something like that. Again, numbers with me. But I had actually been here. The final time I settled was 1991. But I had been once in 1989 and stayed for a while. It didn't work out and went back to England, saved the money to come back, and I was here for about a year that time. I was trying to get my vibrating massage pillows going. I stayed for about a year, and it was always a visa thing. I'd lose all my money and lose my visa and have to go back. So it was about the third time. And that's why I didn't have much money. I'd gone back to England again. Right, I've got to earn more money to get the airfare to come back. And then I was toying. It was really one way or the other at that stage, because then I was starting to think, maybe everyone else is right and I'm wrong. I never thought that till I was 35. All of a sudden I thought, you know what, maybe they are all right, because the only thing I've been successful at so far is failing. And I was really successful at that. And I'm 35, and I've just about got enough money for the airfare back to New Zealand, that'll be it. Or I've got enough money to buy a car. And then I could be a sales rep, which was another thing I was thinking. And then I could drive all over England selling stuff and probably make loads of money doing that. And it was really a toss-up, and I thought, just go. So once I'd bought the plane ticket, and you had to buy a return because of the visa status, that's all it left me with. And I went into a, what do you call them, where all young people stay? I think
Like a youth hostel.
Yeah, like a hostel.
Yeah. I've heard this about the Suzanne Paul story. So you arrive at the airport, you've got very little money to your name, and there's like a cork board or a notice board.
Yeah.
And you what was, and they had like a free shuttle. So you're like, this is how I can get to the city.
Yeah.
But what were you going to do otherwise? It seems like very poor planning on your part, arriving here with...
Yes, a lot of times when I do things, I don't have a full plan laid out. Because I think that can scupper you sometimes, that you're so busy planning it, you don't ever get round to doing it. I know a lot of people that get stuck planning, analysis paralysis, and I've always been the other way round. I've always been, it'll be all right, I'll find somewhere to live, and I'll find some job. When you're in sales, or if you're willing to do anything, oh, God love him, look at him. It's amazing the jobs you can find to do when you've got no money. People say there's no jobs. I've never been out of work. I've never been out of work in my life, in whatever country I've been in.
Yeah, you've done all sorts. Like
Ridiculous
selling lollies, engraving combs.
Yes.
Is that a job?
Yeah, that was a job. Yeah.
Something to do with oranges. What were you doing with oranges?
Yes, I lived on a kibbutz for a couple of years, picking oranges.
In Israel. What was the job? You're like a Playboy bunny at a nightclub or something. What was that?
At a holiday camp. Holiday camps are very big in England, like Butlins, Heidi High. I was like a bunny girl, and I was the camp photographer.
What is a bunny girl? What do you do? Just
Well, I used to take pictures right through. There was 2 photographers, and we'd take pictures all throughout the day for the Mr. Nobly D's and the glamorous grandmother and the all this, that, and the other. The kids' entertainment. Photos all day long. That's what the British like to do when they're on holiday. The donkey derby. Take pictures of everybody doing everything, and then at night I'd dress up as a bunny girl, run around and sit on all the men's knees, and the other photographer would take a picture of me, sparkling shine. Hey.
Happy, joy.
Yeah, and then they'd buy the photos,
Right,
of course.
right.
But yeah, I did a lot of jobs, and when I came here, Different times, different jobs. I forget what I was the last time I got here. Actually, I was selling Kirby vacuum cleaners door to door. So I think I arrived on a Friday, and I get the newspaper and they were advertising for salespeople. And the training was Saturday and Sunday. So I went for the interview, got the job. They gave everybody the job, actually, that went for the interview. And then train you how to sell the vacuum cleaner Saturday, Sunday, and the Monday I was out selling it.
Because the money
Commission.
that you had to your name, everything you owned, I guess that was maybe enough to cover the hostel for a few days.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to earn money quick.
Oh, yeah, and that wasn't your first, door-to-door. You did a lot of door-to-door stuff over the years. You must have seen some memorable things. What did you see? Lots of naked people, I guess.
Yeah, the vacuum cleaner's the worst because you vacuum in people's houses, but then once you'd vacuum the carpet, the big selling point was, can you take your sheets off your bed and I'll vacuum the mattress for you and show you all the dead skin and the fleas that you're sleeping on. Disgusting. I keep smiling.
Yeah, eh?
I kept smiling.
Yeah, happy, joy. How do you not? When you do, you look back now, and all these little sales jobs you had and bits and pieces, they were leading you somewhere. They were taking you somewhere.
Yes.
But at the time, were you crying yourself to sleep, or
No.
no?
No, I always thought everything would lead to something. And I've always believed that if you do the job, even if it's the worst job, if you do it the best that you can do it, somebody always notices. That's what I've always thought. Somebody always has noticed, and it's led to something else. And I just think, that you just do the best with what you've got and in the situation that you're in. That's always been my plan. And do the best with what you've got until you can do what you've got to do, until you can do what you want to do.
Until you make it to the next level, really.
Yeah.
Geez, we've been going 20 minutes. There's already so many good takeaways in this. It's a really inspiring story.
Oh,
I'm sure it's exhausting being you and reliving, especially some of the lows that we'll get to. But you've done so well. Okay, so you get here. So this is 1991 at the age of 35. You're selling vacuum cleaners. You're real famous here within a few years, though, right? It's almost exponential.
Yes, I did. I met the right person at the right time, and he was an entrepreneur like me, but he doesn't like to have his name out there. He's very, quietly gets on with business. But we were both what they call sales demonstrators. So that's what I'd been since I was 18. I demonstrated products and gadgets for all sorts of companies in shopping malls, exhibitions, and found each other. We were both working at an exhibition, realised that we both wanted the same thing. So from there I worked with him, and because I'd no money, but we met up, and he said to me, what's the best thing you've ever sold? If you could sell one thing now, what would it be? So I said the vibrating massage pillow, because I don't need much space. I can set up in a shopping mall with one chair. Doesn't take up much room to rent that bit of space. And I can stop men and women with it. And everybody's got aches and pains, whether it's in the feet or the knees or the back or whatever it is. And, so he said, all right, leave it with me. And I gave him a phone number of, somebody. And 3 months later, that was it. He said, I've got your vibrating massage pillows. Where do you want to sell them? And I was like, I've no clue, I don't know. So rang around some shopping malls, and I got in Henderson Square shopping mall. So that was how it started. I started selling the vibrating massage pillows. It went really well, so I trained up another girl to do it, and she went in another mall, St Luke's. I trained up another one, and in the end there was 8, 10, 12 of us in shopping malls everywhere. And then I said to Paul, another product we could do, the Suzanne clip. Okay, we'll get those. So it went like that.
So what was it? What was it? So he was like an importer.
He was, but he was a great demonstrator as well. But he had all the contacts and the money to get the products made. Some products were made here, some he got in from China, and I would say get that in. I know how to sell this. I've done a demonstration for this. I know it. Back in 1982, I did a demonstration for this at the Ideal Home Show. It could be metal polish, it could be carpet cleaners, it could be a window washer, a slicer dicer.
Yeah. I know the products you mean. You see the demonstration, and the demonstrator, such as yourself, does a really good job. You take it home and you realise it's shit because you make it look so. Okay, so the Suzanne clip, that was one of your memorable products. Was it called the Suzanne clip?
We called it the Suzanne clip after me. Yeah.
After you, okay.
Yeah.
So it was just a clip.
It was a clip, and me and the girls travelled everywhere. Again, shopping malls, exhibitions, trade shows, demonstrating them. And then it was the natural glow that changed everything. The famous makeup, with thousands of luminous spheres. Yeah.
So how did the TV thing start then? How do you go from selling in malls
to...
Well,
we had the natural glow. We launched it, and we were doing that in the shopping malls. And it was all a bit us about face, really, because we both agreed this makeup needed to go in the pharmacies. It was a great makeup. The women loved it. So I went round the pharmacies and said, this is a great makeup. I've got demonstrators. And they were all like, is it advertised on TV? No. Well, we don't want it then. They didn't want any makeup that nobody had heard of, made in Otahuhu. They were like, no, we don't want it. So we were like, we'll have to advertise this on TV so we can get it into the pharmacies. And the plan was that because I did the demonstration, I'd invented the makeup, I made up the demonstration, so I wrote the TV advert, and we were going to get Jude Dobson or Lana Cockcroft to do it because they were on the telly at the time, and we thought, get somebody famous, but in the end we couldn't afford either of them. So Paul literally said to me, no, you'll have to do it, you'll have to film it, we've no money left to pay anybody. And I was like, oh, Jesus, I don't want to film this. But I had to, and so, and I was like, don't ever make me do this ever again, this is the worst. I was throwing up all week, I dreaded it. Paul
did you really?
Yeah, I did not want to do it.
Why did Paul think you'd be the best person for it? Just because you had so much sales experience and believed?
Yes, he said, you, it's your makeup, you know it. You invented it, just, and the script that I was doing in the shopping malls was working. I just had to do the same on TV. Instead of doing it live on a woman in the mall, I just had a model then, and, I was the only one that could do it. There was nobody else that was, ready to do it.
It ended up being a masterstroke too, didn't it?
Yeah, so it did. When the advert went on, it just simply stopped everyone in their tracks, and it worked so well. We were like, oh my God, let's put the vibrating massage pillow on TV and the Suzanne clip, and then all sorts of sports equipment, was very popular at the time. Then it was fitness in the early 90s. We had the Ab Flex and the Abdominizer and the Ab King Pro and the Ab Queen Pro and the Ab Twister. It was everything to do with your abs and getting fit. Just one exercise thing after another. And then it was followed by a fad on everybody wanted juicing and chopping their veggies and juicing their veggies and slicing their veggies. So there was all that. We never ran out of product. It just went on for years and years.
So did you just have like normal 30-second commercials, or was it in the morning television where it's like a...
Yeah, so we only advertised during the day because I couldn't get enough information out to make people pick up the phone in 30 seconds. So when I used to say to Paul, I can't get all that information out. So that's why it became, the adverts were 2 minutes long. And inadvertently, we launched what was the first direct marketing company in New Zealand. And we had offices here, and then we had offices in Sydney. So we had it going, but at the same time, the ads were all over Australia and all over TV here.
And was there a third business partner that pulled out because you were doing...
There was eventually, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, in the beginning there was a third partner, and when he saw that first ad, he said, no, if you put this ad on, I want out. You'll have to buy me out or I'll buy you out. So Paul and I bought him out, and the ads went on. And that rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah. And so when the ads started, how long did it take before you noticed they were having like a real sort of impact and cut through?
We knew straight away,
Yeah?
immediately.
Because of the phone
because
ringing?
Of the
or?
phone ringing. We were just like, oh my God, the phones are ringing off the wall. And we were answering the phones. And then we'd be shouting to Paul's mum, because we were working out of his mother's basement, can you come and help us answer the phones? It's going mad here. And then we'd shout to his brother, can you come? So it just went bonkers. And pharmacies, of course, which is what we wanted in the first place, pharmacies started ringing up saying, women keep coming in the shop asking for this natural glow. Could we have some, please? Could we order it? And then I'd put demonstrators in the stores. So we kept it all going. We had demonstrators at all exhibitions in shopping malls. We had the TV going on, and I was schlepping backwards and forward to Australia, going on the Good Morning shows over there with Bert Newton and selling it live on TV over there.
So the dream that Sue Barnes had as a little girl was finally sort of coming to fruition.
Yeah.
At the age of like, how long after
It
you got to New
was.
Zealand? Like 36, 37?
Yeah.
So quite instant, really,
It was
quite
instant.
quickly.
Well, in
Finally.
the newspapers, I was like, yeah, after 30 years of schlepping about all over the world, penniless, you know, they declared me an overnight success, the TV. I was like, well, you didn't see what went on before, you know.
It's like the iceberg
Yeah.
photo, isn't it?
Yeah.
People see the bit out of the water, but they don't see the bit underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that must have been nice, finally having a bit of money. And did the money start coming in straight away? Or?
Yes, money was straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, that must have felt good.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It was the first time in my life I never had to worry about money. I didn't have to worry about paying the bills. I didn't have to worry about anything. And I brought my mum over to live, put her in there was a retirement village. Bought her apartment in a retirement village, bought myself somewhere. We had about 8 years of this treadmill. But what also happened at the same time was that I became famous here, of course. And then I started having different dreams, because that's what happens with your dreams, isn't it? They keep changing.
Also, like the I suppose taste of fame from being on TV selling these products.
Yes.
Did it give you like a clue that maybe I can do this or maybe I can do that?
Yeah.
So how did that start? You becoming like a celebrity?
At first it was different. People on TV getting me onto their show. You know, I seemed to be the guest on everything. I was just everywhere as the guest. And then the magazines and the newspapers, I was always being interviewed for something. And then I started, you know, and I was watching New Zealand television. And then I thought, I think I could have my own TV show. Don't see why not. So, and it took 5 years from when I first thought of that. And I went up to TVNZ and TV3 dozens of times with dozens of shows over the years. I know TVNZ went through 3 changes of bosses in that time, and I would go up and pitch this show. I would just go right to whoever was in charge at the time and just look, I could do this and go there and this would be a great show, and they'll be like, no, I don't think so. Right, okay. And I'd go off.
You know, all previous guests on the podcast include Matt Watson, you know, the ITM fishing show guy.
Oh, yes.
And Lee Hart, who's got a show called Moon TV.
Yeah.
So they've got similar sort of stories. They ended up having to basically make their own shows and do their own shit because the decision maker was telling them no.
Going up, and they keep saying no, nobody's going to watch that. And I'm like, I think they would, wouldn't they? That's going to be so good. And then...
Why was it? Do you think it was like sort of racism in a way, or because of your voice, or...?
They seem to think, why would anybody watch the show? They watch you all day long. You're on the TV every 5 minutes. They're going to be like, oh no, here she is again, and switch off, you see. And sometimes, again, you are in the right place at the right time, and this is a true story. I'd been going backwards and forwards to TVNZ, backwards and forwards. And then... one day I went to a party at TV3 because we were spending so much on advertising, you know, and I went along to this party, just me, I thought I might meet somebody there. I didn't. I got out, there was a taxi there. I said, he said, Remy Ware? I said, yes, that's me. This is a true story. I got in the taxi, shut the door. Next minute, the door came flying open and this woman said, I think you've got my taxi. And I said, I know, I asked him if it was Remuera, and he said, yeah, that's me. She said, well, I'm Remuera as well, and I had booked this taxi, but if you want, we can share. So she got in, and she said, I know you're Suzanne Paul, aren't you, TV? I said, yes. She said, I'm Bettina Hollings, head programmer for TV3. I went, here we go. I've got you all the way to Remuera.
20 minutes, 30 minutes of the traffic's bill.
I got an idea for you. And I pitched her a show called Style Challenge that I'd come up with, which there was no reality shows on TV then, and it was about me meeting these women, going to the house, getting them to show me what they normally wear, and me saying, oh, God, you look like a sack of potatoes in that, love, or whatever, taking them shopping and giving them a makeover. And she said, yeah, I like it. Yeah, let's do it. By the time she got out the taxi and I got out, I had a TV show, Style Challenge.
Again, so inspiring. Most people would I think most people, New Zealanders in particular, give up at the first no.
They do, yeah. And I think being in sales, you get used to people saying no to you. You fail every day, dozens, hundreds of times. And for most people, they don't get that in their everyday job. They do their job and it's all going great. But when you're in sales, when you're stood in a shopping mall and you present this product and do a 20-minute demonstration of, look at this, it's beautiful, and it's this, and it's just going to make your life so much better, and then they all bugger off. And it's like, what the... What a waste of time that was.
Yeah.
No, we don't want it. Right then, got to start again. You get used to it. That's a no, that's a failure. Okay, sparkle and shine. Here we go again. Hello, come and try it. So to me, I was used to no's. Go up to TVNZ. No, we don't like it. And then it happened, they had a new boss. I went up to TVNZ again. No, then they had a new boss at TVNZ. He's passed away now. And I went to him and pitched him the idea for a show. And again, I'd had no so many times, but there I was, and we could do this, and I'll do that. And he went, it sounds like a good idea, let's do it. I literally went, I'm sorry, what did you say? I beg your pardon? Because I thought I must have, misunderstood.
You were just expecting it to be a no.
Yes, because it's always no. Yeah, come in next week, we'll do the... And I did, I went in the next week, and everybody was there, and we came up, all put our ideas together, and we had Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Oh, I remember that. That was very successful. Went for many years.
Very successful.
So it was you and Anthony Ray Parker as your limo driver. And what was the premise of the show?
Yeah, so we literally, people would nominate somebody, so they would literally, I would knock on the door and they would go, oh my God, what are you doing here? And I'd say, yay, we're coming in, surprise, guess who's coming to dinner? And I would go in with the chef and with Anthony Ray, always give the woman a makeover. The chef would cook something with whatever he found in the cupboards or the fridge, and we'd get everything all looking nice, lay the table, and then a surprise celebrity guest. We had Jonah Lomu.
Wow.
Kevin Smith, God rest his soul. We had all black. We had David Tour on there. It was really top-notch celebrities that would then come and have dinner with the family.
Is that why the show ended? You ran out of...
We practically ran out of celebrities, yeah.
God, it's probably time for a reboot.
Yes.
Would you be keen to do it again?
Oh,
do you think you could do it again?
Yes. Something. Watch this space. That's all I'll say, Dom.
Oh,
watch this
really?
Space. Yeah.
Shit, how good. Okay, so the business. So you sold that company after 5 years?
Yeah, it was about 8, I think.
8 years. Okay. And that sold for 39 million. So
yeah.
How much of that do you get?
I think I got about 3 million.
Okay.
But then there was Paul, and then his brother was the other partner because he was running things in Australia. But we had a lot of money in stocks and shares, which we didn't have any choice about. But unfortunately, within a short space of time, they were worthless. But anyway, we don't need to go all the ins and outs. It all turned to custard.
Yeah. But then you bounce back. Well, we can talk about that as much or as little as you want, because what I like about this is the bounce back after the adversity.
Yes.
Like, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times...
No.
I think it's Rocky that said that out there. Yeah.
Oh, I do like
But
Rocky.
so you're 40 or your early 40s.
I was 50.
No, when you sold the company. And
Early 40s, and I was bankrupt when I was 50.
So you got so you sell the company, you got a few $1 million, and then what do you do with that? Why don't you just like put your feet up then? Like back then, like the year 2000, you could have like bought a nice house outright.
I actually built a house on a cliff. So I had exactly what I wanted, exactly as I'd said from when I was a child. I wanted it on the cliff, and I wanted that view, and I wanted the swimming pool, and I wanted a gym, and I wanted this, and I wanted 7 bathrooms in the house, and it was very precise.
Does seem excessive, but you manifested
excessive. It was what I wanted, so that's what I had. And then, of course, you can't be, successful up there when all your family and friends are not. So I bought houses for family and friends, and as you do. And, yes, and had people in charge of the money to invest it for me. But I'm not good with money. I'm not good with numbers. It's why I'm not in business now. I don't want to be. It's an absolute nightmare for me because I do have something that nobody's ever heard of, which is called dyscalculia. And I never talk about it, but now I do talk about it because they can't understand. How could you not be in charge of your own money?
What does that mean exactly?
So, yes, because dyslexia is when people have a problem with letters.
Yes.
And dyscalculia is a problem with numbers. I was expelled from school when I was 15 because of it. So
it's like a learning difficulty.
It is, but just with maths,
Okay.
just with numbers. Can't keep numbers in my head, can't keep times in my head. I have to write everything down, and everything gets all jumbled up, and I can't make sense of it. And so I stopped going to the maths class because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the homework. They put me in one of those remedial maths class. I couldn't do that either. And in the end, I stopped going, and in the end, I got expelled. But it's been like that all my life, which is why I've had a lot of problems. And I get really stressed out about money and numbers, and people can't understand it. So a lot of people would say to me, "Oh, I'm the same. I hate it when I have to do my tax." And I'm like, "No, it's not that. I couldn't do it even if I wanted to. I'd have no clue." And so I've always put somebody else in charge of my money. Ex-husbands, I've always been in charge of the money, not me. I never even looked at the bank account. And it sounds ridiculous. So, for instance, I'm going to tell you what happened to me yesterday. And this took an hour and a half of my time yesterday, and I still didn't get it sorted out. I've got some tablets that I'm on for cholesterol, statins. And I could see that they were running down, and I thought to myself, I need to get a repeat prescription. And I'm taking one every other day. So I'm writing this down on a piece of paper. Right, how many tablets, this was like being back at school. How many tablets have I got left, yeah? And how many do I take every other day? And how long does it take before I get the prescription? 3 days. And then they give me that. So I need to add that to that. No, I don't. I need to minus it. No, that's not right. No, I need to add it, then take away what I've got. No, I need to... My mind just keeps doing that.
Yeah.
I can't even get to go... So then I say to myself, calm down. How many tablets have you got now? This many. And you're taking one every other day. How many is that a week? This is literally me. One. So I need 4 tablets a week. Or do I... So do I... Honestly, it's like, that's as basic as it is. And after an hour and a half, I still couldn't work out how many tablets I had and how many I needed to get and how many I should. So in the end, I just thought, I'll just order them anyway. That's literally how I was after an hour and a half.
The funny thing is that hour and a half is probably still going to be more fun than what this hour and a half is.
Even though I'm doing it on the calculator. And so, yes, so that's back in the day was the same. I was my first husband. I left him in charge of all of the money and all of the investments. And when we split up, it was quite a shock to me when I'm like, so how much money have we got? And he's like, no, none, because I invested some in that and this and it didn't work. And then I bought that property and sold it for less, and this one and sold that for less. Then I bought the boat and sold that for less. And I'm like, so is there any money? No. Oh, right.
So were you sort of like swindled in a way, or?
Well, I should have had, yeah. Then my second husband was the same. I'd be like, where's the money? Well, I bought this and I was going to open that and do this, that and the other. And all of a sudden, it's gone.
The first 2 husbands, were they like consulting you on these sort of decisions and purchases? Or?
Not very often, no. And because I've no concept of it, I would just be like, well, can we afford it? Yeah, no, it'll be fine. We'll get that, and we can get the bank to do this, and we can get an investor to do that. Okay, so I'm really good at getting ideas. I can see a gap in the market. It's what I've done all my life. There's a gap in the market there. We need a product to fill it, and I know how to sell it. But everything else with numbers, do you know, I can remember scripts, things that I sold right in 1970. If you said, have you got a script for this metal polyp, you can remember it. But if you said, how much tax did you pay last year, or how much did you earn, I would be like, no, I've no clue.
And that's
idea.
And that's fine, because it's like you have your strength. Everyone has their strengths.
Yes.
Accountants could never get in front of a camera and do what you do.
No. But even so, with accountants, that stresses me out. It does with my husband now. We always end up arguing. He does all our, book work, and he'll say to me, and even that panics me out. Right, I've got this on your bank statement here, $225. Can you remember what that's for? And I'm like, I don't know. Don't ask me. Stop talking to me. I don't want to know. I just have to switch off. I don't want to be in business anymore, and I don't want to have to cope with that anymore.
Oh, it sounds like you've been worn down by it.
Yeah, it has worn me down, and people can't understand it.
Oh no,
I
fully understand. I can't imagine how tough it was. So so the bankruptcy came after the Rawaka restaurant.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that as much or as little as you want. But in hindsight, was it a good idea and the wrong timing?
Was it still a great idea? It was the right timing. It's still a great idea.
So Rawaka was a multicultural restaurant and a great location as well. So if you're in Auckland and you're in the city side and you drive over the bridge, when you drive over the bridge towards Takapuna, you can see a little sort of restaurant on the left-hand side of the bridge.
Yes.
And that was going to be Rawaka.
Yes.
Why didn't it work?
Well, again, I wasn't in charge of the money, but we had quotes for everything. It needed a lot of work doing. I think we spent, 2-3 million on it. Again, don't quote me.
Just getting the fit out done, right?
Yes, because when they get up to fix the roof, this has happened. Now it's got this, or it's got asbestos, or it's got a leak, or now we need to redo the floors. And then just when you think you're done, they're like, no, the council say we've got to put a lift in now, a disabled lift. Oh, there wasn't one there before. It's been operating as Fisherman's Wharf, the restaurant. They didn't have a lift. No, well, apparently you've got to have a lift now. Okay, you didn't budget for that. And before you know where you are, we had bookings. We'd taken bookings right through for the summer for all the cruise ships coming in. We'd done all this work. We'd sold it in. Cruise ships would come in. We would pick them up on our Rawaka bus, bring them out to us. They could see a cultural show. We did the hangi, everything. And we were supposed to open in the summer, but with all the delays on the building and the permission and this, that and the other, we actually couldn't open. And we had to contact everybody, all the cruise ships. We had schools that we'd got booked from America that were coming over, and that was all booked in. We couldn't open in the summer. We ended up opening in the winter. There was no tourists. We just managed to stay going for a few months. We had an investor who put some money in. Again, I didn't do that side of it. To me, I was like, I've had a great idea, and I just thought it's up to those people, to keep the money going and to sort that side of it out.
God, so did that feel like a slow moving train crash or something? It must have felt like you were just like hemorrhaging money, slowly bleeding to death financially.
Yeah, that was a nightmare for me.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah,
is that where you ended up bankrupt?
Yeah.
So you're 50 at this point?
So, yes, and I didn't declare myself bankrupt. I went to all of the creditors, the building people and the roofing people and the electricians or whatever it was, and said, no, I don't have the money now, but I've got this company here who've started employing me to sell stuff for them, and I can sell stuff. I'm going on TV selling their stuff for them. I'm doing shopping malls for them, selling their stuff. I'm training girls to sell their stuff, so I am going to have the money if you could just hold on. No. So they forced the bankruptcy on me.
Surely your creditors would want, even if it's 50 cents in every dollar or something,
would
you'd want
think,
some sort of return.
So
what does bankruptcy mean exactly?
Well, it meant anything that you had. So the house was sold, the bank just take whatever they can to pay off the creditors, and somebody comes through your house, and if there's anything that you've got that's worth any money, cars can be taken, or boats, or paintings, or anything. But literally everything, was gone. And we had nowhere to live.
Did you, at that moment, did you again, in some way, sort of feel like young Sue Barnes left on the bus?
I felt very down. I did get very depressed around that time because my mum was living with us then. She'd lived with me for a few years, and I just thought I've let her down and I've let myself down, and I think it was an age thing as well, being 50.
Having to start again.
Just start again.
I'm 51 now, and I couldn't imagine how daunting and exhausting and hard that would feel.
It was. I just thought, I think this road ahead's too long, and I think it's too hard, and you just focus on. I just kept focusing on what I'd lost, what I had, and what I'd lost, and that the life I thought I was living, I wasn't living, that life anymore, and that I didn't have time. I kept thinking to myself, I've wasted time. I don't have the time left to start again. I don't have the energy left. I didn't have the inclination. I didn't have the motivation. And
it's quite, because when you're 50, I suppose 67 or 68, whatever you are now, seems like bloody old.
Yeah.
And then you get to 67, 68, and you realise, okay, I'm still still got a lot to live
now,
with.
I think, I was 50 now.
You still had a lot of runaway left.
And so it took every ounce of strength, every ounce of courage that I had. I had to be very strong in my mind every day. And I knew what I had to do. I didn't want to do it, but I knew what I had to do. And I think that's it in life. People know what they've got to do. It's making themselves do it is the problem.
Is that discipline, or is it something else? What is it?
It is, and people, I think they hesitate and they leave it too long, I don't know. And so it's all the what if, again, and what if this, and what if it goes wrong, and what if I don't make it, and I don't think I'll be able to do it, and I don't want to do it. And also what people are waiting for, they're waiting for some sort of energy and motivation to strike them like lightning. People think they can sit at home and be all depressed and think, as soon as I get the energy and the motivation, I'll do something. And it's completely wrong. It's absolutely it's not going to happen. There's no way. That never happens to anybody, not on this earth. It's not happening. What happens is you have to start doing something. And I don't care. I'm saying to myself, I don't care. People say to me all the time, but I don't feel like it. And I'm like, I don't care if you feel like it or not. I don't care if you don't feel like standing in a shopping mall. I don't feel like it either, but you're going to do it anyway. It's the Nike, isn't it? It's the just do it. Stop
100%.
thinking about how you feel. I say to my salespeople all the time, I don't care how you feel. I don't feel like it either. I'd rather be lying by the swimming pool having a pina colada. Do you think I want to stand in this shopping mall? No, but we're here. Let's make the best do it. Let's sparkle and shine. Happy, happy, joy, joy. For God's sake, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So every day, I didn't feel like doing it. I knew I had to go back in the shopping mall and sell stuff for anybody that would pay me enough. Of course I didn't want to do it. I was humiliated, I was embarrassed, I was exhausted. I cried every morning getting ready. I cried every night when I got home. Sometimes I'd cry when I was actually standing in the shopping mall. But then I would just say to myself, just do it. Just get on with it. Just do it. I don't care how you're feeling. Just do it anyway. And somewhere along the way, then the motivation comes. But you've got to take the action first. Then you start getting motivated. And what happened with me is people kept coming up to me all day long in the shopping mall saying, good on you, Suzanne. Good to see you back out there. That would set me off crying again. I'd be crying. They'd say, don't cry, don't cry. You can do it, love. And I'd say, thank you. I'm going to do my best. This was me in the shopping mall. you know, in Manukau or Otahu or wherever it is. And people would come by all day and say, you can do this, Suzanne, you've got this. My husband's been made bankrupt. And he says, if you're going to get out there and do it again, he's going to get out there and do it again. And I'd say, okay, we'll do this together again. If your husband's going to do it, I'm going to do it as well. And then people started emailing me saying, what is the secret then? Because we've just lost everything, or this has happened to us and we can't find our way through it. We can't pick ourselves up. We're too down and we don't want to do anything. And so I started emailing everybody, this is what you must do. This is what you've got to think. Stop thinking about what you've lost. Think about what you've still got, okay? Let's forget about, yes, that's gone. And you can't move forward if you're going to keep looking back all the time. So what have you actually got, you know? And then I started thinking to myself, I can't keep writing to all these people. It's taking so many hours every day. And that's when I wrote the book. I thought, if I put everything I know in the book of how I'm doing this, I'm at rock bottom. I can't be any lower. But I'm going to write about, in this book, about what I'm doing to pick myself up. And if it works, then that's great. Because everybody that reads the book, if it works for me, and it's going to work for everybody that reads the book. So bit by bit, I wrote the book about how I was thinking and feeling and what I was doing to pick myself up.
Yeah, there's so many valuable lessons in that. So around this time, obviously the 7-bathroom house had gone. Where were you living? Were you just renting a place somewhere?
We were renting. In fact, we couldn't afford to rent. And who had previously been some great guys who were my lawyers, they said, look, we've got a house that we normally rent out. It's vacant. You can live there until you can until you can afford to pay. I lived there for about months, nothing. And I did pay them. Eventually, I paid everybody. I went, God rest his soul, on the Paul Holmes show, and I said, even though I'm bankrupt, and I now don't have to pay anybody back because I've been bankrupt, and that means you don't have to pay anybody back. But I did. I started earning money, and I paid people off, and so within 2 years, I think, the bankruptcy is gone then.
Yeah, you got discharged early.
I got discharged early.
Did it add... By the way, were you getting like a little emotional just before?
Oh,
just
I do.
reflecting on
I
it?
do.
Yeah, it's a lot. In terms of like your mental health, was this like the lowest in your life?
And I do keynote speaking now, and I have to talk through it about the loss and how I pick myself up. And I cry every time I do. Every time I do the talk, I cry because I feel the emotion that I felt when it was happening. I still feel it now.
And did it? Because you were very famous at the time, did that add an extra layer of humiliation to it? I just know what the New Zealand media is like, and there's a lot of people that would have been rubbing their hands together with glee at seeing the demise of someone that's been successful.
I was in the Sunday paper every week.
That's disgusting.
And I'd open the door and there'd be a reporter on the step, you know, with a microphone and the camera clicking away. I'd had cars pull up on the pavement in front of me with photographers leaping out. What does it feel like to have lost everything? And, you know, you've got nothing. And it was. And that's when I found out there's worse things you can lose than your money and your home and your possessions, because I lost my dignity, you know, I lost my self-respect, and worse than that, I lost all hope. And there's not much left after that.
Did you? What do you mean you lost hope?
Well, that anything would ever change, you know, that's when you go into the depression, because you've no hope. How can I change things? I've got nothing. How can you start again with nothing? Who's going to trust you? What are you going to do? You can't see a light at the end of the tunnel. It's too difficult, and you don't have the energy, you know. But luckily, because I'd failed so many times before, albeit not in such a huge way, and
in
not
a public way.
In a public way, but I'd always had these small failures, and I was saying to myself, you know, well, remember what you had to do that time when you was living there and you couldn't pay the electricity. What did you do? You know, and remember when you did this and you were homeless. And what did you do? When you do anything, you do what you've got to do. That's what you do.
Yeah, and you did. It's like you put your pride on the shelf, and like getting back out there in the mall. Like I feel like there were tears of gratitude before when you were talking about people going past and saying,
yes, for that I thank the New Zealand public every day. They saved me, and I saved some of them. You know, people would say to me all the time, "You've saved us. We had given up, but we're going to try again, because you know we're only 60 or 50 or whatever it was." Yeah, it gave me the strength to carry on.
Yeah, it's life, eh? As you get older, you realise, shit happens to everyone, and sometimes you deserve it. Sometimes bad things happen to good people, and
it is.
Yeah,
it's just life.
But and you can lie in bed all day, but the sun's gonna rise whether you rise or not.
Yes, and it's that thing of nobody's coming to save you. That's why I kept saying to myself, nobody's coming to save you. They never came to save you before, and you've got to do this yourself. And so that's it. Just work hard, and that's what hard work is. It's doing stuff you don't feel like doing. To me, hard work isn't being on a TV show. It's not being on Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. It's not sitting here talking to you. It's not being in a stage show, which I love doing. That's not hard work. If you can earn money like that, that to me is wonderful. It's long hours, but it's not hard work. Hard work is, going door to door selling vacuum cleaners when you don't want to do it. It's standing in a shopping mall when you don't want to. Even
people saying no to you repeatedly is hard work.
No,
as well.
all day long. Yeah.
When did you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel again? When did you start?
Last week.
Yay!
Yeah, it turned out the light at the end of the tunnel was an oncoming train. That one.
No, you're in a good place now, aren't you? A better place.
Yes.
You're content?
I am, yes. And I think that's what changes over time as well. But there's been a lot of heartache, along the way when I thought I'd made it, and then it all turned to custard. I launched a clothing range, and I thought that was going to be the saviour of me. I had a clothing range. This was after I was made bankrupt, and I had it in stores all over the country, and I had my own shop, and it was for vertically challenged women 5'2" and under. And that was going great guns, but then my mum died suddenly. And that just pulled the rug out from under me. And then I had to have, we were talking about this earlier, my dog was 16 and a half, and I had to have her put to sleep. And then my cat, and then my other cat. And it was just like too much, and my marriage started breaking down, So I went through a bad patch there for quite a few years when I was only surviving, really.
Yeah, it's just like that compounding effect. I mean, all that stuff, even if you hadn't lost your money, it would still be very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
But I suppose it just adds another layer of complexity to it.
Yes, I just kept trying and doing my best until one day that, it didn't hurt as much. And
Financially, how are you now? Are you okay?
Yes, I'd say I've got enough money to last me the rest of my life if I die next Tuesday.
That's a good line.
And so I don't seem to worry about that anymore because I'm in a good place. I've got a wonderful husband. And when you've got somebody by your side, it's always a lot easier than having to go it alone,
Yeah.
And he's wonderful. And I don't worry about it. After what I've been through, I think if I want the money, I can get the money. And I'm just making more plans. I haven't given up. I'm making new plans. I'm talking to people. I was talking to a production company yesterday. I was talking to one the week before that. And so I'm always still pitching, still selling, still pitching me, still selling me. But I don't want to do a 9-to-5 job. No, I don't want that anymore. And I think
you're at the age and stage of life, and I think you've earned the luxury of not doing that.
Yeah, and I've only just recently, I'd say in the last year, started giving myself permission, and even more so in the last 6 months, to not do something. Because for all of my life, every day, didn't matter if it was a weekend, I was working, thinking of an idea, how I can do this idea, who I can contact, how I can make it work, what's going to happen, what's the plan. Every day, I felt it was lazy if I wasn't doing that. And so that's how I've been all my life. And then, now I've got my pension and I've got a bit of money and I've got the husband. And so sometimes I still feel guilty though. Like before I came here, I thought to myself, right, I'd been working and then I thought, get ready. And then I thought, I am ready. What shall I do now then? Now I'll do some more work. And then I went, hang on. Why don't you just get a book and sit down for half an hour? I've got the beach there. I've got Red Beach. Why don't you just sit and look at the beach a bit and read your book? Give yourself permission to do that. You've earned it. But yeah, and so I did. But even then I'm a bit, what time is it? I should really be. I'm still in that. I should really be. I'll just check my emails because maybe, it's hard.
Is this just in your DNA? Is this how you were raised, or is this just you?
No, it's
Is your
just me.
brother much the same, or?
No, it's just me. It's hard to stop.
Have you got ADHD, do you think, maybe?
I don't know.
I mean, it was never, I reckon I do, but it was never diagnosed when I was a kid.
No,
so
it was never diagnosed.
Um,
I've always been the same.
Geez, how much time do you have? We've been going for just over an hour, but there's so much to the Suzanne Paul story. Okay.
I'm right.
So you mentioned your husband number 3 now. Husband number 3, and you're his third wife.
Yeah.
Do you think, would you say you've been lucky in love or unlucky in love? How would you frame it?
Oh, yeah, I think still lucky in love. You can't change things, can you? When you look back, sometimes I think I wish I'd done things differently. But at the time, I think each husband was the right person for that time, for who I was at that time and for what was going on. I think they were the right husband. But some people just, I think, they don't have to be in your life forever.
Yeah, there's a saying I really like, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're in a good place. I'm not going to slag anybody off or say they did this or did that. I'm glad I met my husband when I did. And, and as you say, he's had 2 ex-wives before. And what I love, and he had children to both of those ex-wives. And we all get together. We was all together the other week. They all came to our house. So there'll be his 2 ex-wives there, and the kids that they had, the 4 kids between them, and then a couple of the grandchildren, and I love it.
It's like you don't have any kids of your own, eh?
No.
You went through IVF?
I went through 8 IVF.
Did you? Yes, man.
That doesn't help, does it? I know you and JJ.
Yeah, JJ and I, yeah, very, very expensive. I think we got 2 rounds of government funding, and then after that it was like, I don't know, I want to say like 10 grand or 12 grand a pop.
Yeah.
I think we gave up after 6 rounds. Again, that's the resilience of Suzanne Paul, 8 rounds.
I know, and that was a hard one because I don't give up on anything. I wanted somebody to say to me, that's it now, stop, give up, because then you could say, okay, I've done. But nobody did. If I have another one, could it work? Could do.
So
it's hard to give up.
It becomes like a gambler's mentality. You're putting one more
up?
coin in the slot machine. In the end, I think Richard Fisher, the Fertility Associates guy, he more or less told us to give it up.
Yes, yeah.
It's probably what you needed as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you does that make you sad that you couldn't have your own?
It did for a long time, and it did change my relationship with a lot of friends, as well as my the husband that I had at the time, because he had 3 brothers, and they all had kids, and at any one time either somebody had just got pregnant, was pregnant, or just had a baby, and I just felt left on the sidelines. Any family function, it was talking about babies, having a baby, and I can't even join in. Nothing. I just felt left out and heartbroken all the time. So in the end, he'd say, "Oh, got the christening next week of his 4th one." I'd be like, "I actually can't go because it's causing me too much pain to be there. It's breaking my heart. You've got to go." Family, I don't have to go. I've got to look after myself now because I'm losing the plot, and it's so painful. I can't go to a christening. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people choose not to have kids, and that's fine. But when you're trying and that choice has sort of been made for you, it makes it hard. And then I got friends. You probably heard it as well. I have friends with the young kids. They're like, "Oh, if you really want one, you're going to have mine," and it's like,
I know
it's not helpful.
Not helping. No.
Yeah.
And you have to grieve again for that life that you thought you was having, that I thought I would be doing with these child or more than one, the life that I thought I was be living. I had to learn to let it go, and that's not the life I was going to be having.
Yeah. I can so relate to what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you have this mental picture of how, or for me, how the second half of my life was going to look, and then suddenly you have to reassess
me
it.
with my plans, that was all planned out, exactly what was happening there, right up, and then all of a sudden, no, out my control.
So why did Duncan? He's your current. No.
So he was the second one.
Second.
Yeah, so this is Patrick.
Patrick.
Yeah.
So why did you guys decide to get married? Like, surely it'd be easy to go, no, we've done it. Got the T-shirt.
I know, you would think that I would think, especially coming from that broken home, which I didn't get married for the first time till I was 40. That's how against marriage I was after my parents. I was like, marriage doesn't work, I'm not doing it. But then when I got to be 40, I don't know, I realised even though it didn't work out, and the second one didn't work out, I like being married. I like thinking that someone is there just for me and is going to have my back and look after me. And I like knowing he's there and that he's my husband. But also it just makes me feel, for me, more loved, that he was willing to go the extra mile to ask me to marry him and to actually marry him and be my husband. That must, to me, I think that must mean he really, really loves me. That's how it is with me.
God, you're a romantic, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
You are.
And so, yeah.
And you slid into his DMs, so that's how you...
Yeah, I did, yeah. It was the humour. Because I was doing a lot of Facebook posts, not so much Instagram then, and every post I did, he would put a funny comment and I'd put a funny comment, and it went on like that for a while. And people used to say, you two should get a room, because it was just one after the other, this ridiculous thing going on. So then I thought, I did a bit of Facebook stalking, which is good for that, because I thought I'll have a look. If there's photos of him all over his Facebook page with floozies, I won't bother.
Floozies. I haven't heard the word floozies in a very long time. I think Jackson, the cameraman out there, I don't know if he's ever heard the word floozies before.
So,
Love it.
Yeah, I thought, no, there was no floozies. I could see that his children were grown up and he was so proud of them, and that he was a musician and an actor, and... So, then I did. And then it was when we got a bit closer, we were still sort of just following him on Facebook. And him and his dad, who was like his late 80s then, I think his dad was about 88, and wanted to do this ancestry search in England and Scotland and Ireland. And Patrick said, well, you're not going on your own, Dad, I'll go with you. So then I started seeing these lovely posts of him with his dad in Scotland and Wales. And then I sent him a message one day, and then so we were privately messaging.
What was the message, like asking him out on a date, or
no? He was in a place called Tralee, and I sent a message saying, "Oh, my nan taught me how to play the Rose of Tralee on the piano, the Rose of Tralee," and the story goes, he says to his dad, "Dad, Suzanne Paul's just sent me a message." And his dad said, "You better message her back then, hadn't you?" And so he did. And so there was just nice message backwards and forwards. But then I saw he was in a band and he was playing somewhere. So I said to the girls at work where I was at the time, this guy I've been messaging, he's a drummer in a band and they're playing on Friday night. Shall we go along? So they were like, "Yeah, we'll come with you." So that was it. And we were like... two silly teenagers. It was ridiculous, because the girls were saying to me, "Oh, he's looking, don't look now, he's looking." And I'd say, "Is he looking?" "Oh, is he looking now?" "Yeah." "Not looking." "Oh, you can look now." And apparently the band was saying the same to him. "Suzanne Paul's in, she's coming." "Patrick, Suzanne Paul's in, she's here." "Then she's looking at you, don't look." And so he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to look." And then, but in the interval he came over, and I said to the girls, "I just want to see if there's a spark there. We get on well, laughing and joking on Facebook, messaging, but
in real life,
let's see if there's any spark there." And there was a spark. Woo! There was like a great big flat. I just knew as soon as I met him, I thought, yeah, this is it. This is the man for me.
That's wonderful.
It was lovely.
That's great.
He treats me like a queen.
Yeah, does he?
Yeah.
How old is he? Is he the same age, a little bit younger?
7 years younger, so not much in it.
And he's is he in his own band? He's played in some famous bands, eh? Like
Yes, he does. I mean, he's doing a lot now. He's working with Eddie Rayner and Split Ends and Jordan Luck and Peter Ehrlich and When the Cat's Away. So he's like the go-to drummer. And sometimes it's the other week it was very exciting. He was with a band called the Magnificent Seven, and they were on before Tom Jones. They was the support act for Tom Jones in Napier.
Wow.
So if I can, I'll go and see him. But he does a lot of corporate functions if people want a drummer for their band. And he does acting as well. He's in a lot of TV things. Yeah.
So are you. You've been in My Life is Murder with Lucy Lawless.
Yeah.
How did you get an acting role? I would have thought it'd be impossible for you to get an acting role in New Zealand just because
I know.
you're Suzanne Paul.
I know.
Were you playing yourself or no?
No, I wasn't. But I was playing somebody that sold stuff. It was like a market stall. And
It wasn't easy. You did it convincingly.
Yeah, so I liked that. And I was on Drag Race Down Under. I was a judge on that for a couple of years, which was great. And that's it.
Yeah.
The other one because didn't you say we can't do that? Can't talk about.
Oh.
The other.
Oh, can we mention that you're on it? No. Okay, but you are going to be on TV later this year.
So my plan is that is my new plan. I don't want to be doing office work. I don't even want to be selling stuff, to be honest. I've sold stuff since I was 15. I'm over it. Yes, I can do it. If I need the money, I'll just find somebody that needs something to sell. So I know that I'll always be all right because I can sell stuff. But I'd rather not. I'd rather just go on telly and enjoy myself and have fun. And the show that I wanted to go on was Traitors.
Oh, the Paul Henry one.
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing another season of that. They might do a third one. Who knows?
They might.
Who knows?
Because the first one, they did have celebrities on it, but the one they're doing now, they didn't want celebrities on it. But things like that, I'd like to be presenting shows or be guests on shows, have my own show, things like that. Or stage shows. I have done 2 comedy stage shows, which I loved.
Yeah, and didn't you do Dirty Dancing? No.
It was called Dirty Dusting, which was a comedy, but I did a show called Stepping Out for the Auckland Theatre Company, which was a tap dancing show.
Yeah.
And of course I did Dancing with the Stars, same as JJ did Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, that's on my list of things to talk about. So this was when it was when JJ did it, and she did very well. It was on TV3. You were on the original run when it was on TV1, and it was a big production, and they had a live band.
They did.
So that was 2007.
Yeah.
I think it was the second time they did Dancing with the Stars, and you were on it, and you won.
I did.
So who else was on that season?
Yeah.
Oh, the late Paul Holmes.
Yes, he was.
That's
Paul
right.
Holmes was on it.
He did that awful Thriller dance.
Oh, he did, yes. God love him.
You bless him. Michael Laws.
Yeah, and...
Megan Alatini from True Bliss, and you were in the final too.
In the final, yeah.
Yeah. What are your recollections of that time? You enjoy the whole Dancing with the Stars experience?
I loved it. I had a great dance partner, Stefano Olivieri, who came over from Sydney. And it was just the same as I do with everything. I said to Stefano, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it 100%. So I said, it's not 2 hours a day, not 3. This is full time for me. We were dancing 8, 10, 12 hours every day. I danced till my feet bled. I danced till I couldn't get my shoes on anymore, and I had to dance barefooted. I danced with a fractured rib, I danced with a torn ligament, a pulled muscle. I just kept carrying on. It was ridiculous.
And you won.
Yeah.
And
loved it.
I feel like that show, maybe it was different back then, but definitely when it came back on TV3, it was like the winner was always partly because they're good at dancing, but also it's a popularity contest as well.
Yes.
Was it like that when you won?
Yes, and I expected that it would relaunch my TV career because it was a couple of years after I'd been made bankrupt. I was still trying to get on my feet. I was selling this for that one. I was in the shopping malls. And then I got on Dancing with the Stars, and I thought, this is it. This is going to catapult me into, woo, I'll get my own show again. That's why I carried on dancing like a lunatic in extreme agony, like with a broken rib and all sorts.
Yeah, because you saw it as a way of like digging yourself out of this hole.
If I win this is it. Because I'd seen it in Australia, I'd seen it in England, and the winners, they always get their own TV show. They get a range of clothes, they get all sorts of great opportunities. So I kept dancing. I said to, everybody, this is it. If I can just win this, if I can get the public on my side to vote for me and they want me to win it, and I dance with all my heart and soul and sparkle and shine all over the goddamn place, if I win this, I'm back on the telly. That's me, And I did win it. And I had all these show ideas. A week later, I was up TVNZ with my agent, and I'm sitting there, and this is literally how it went. I said, right, here I am. I've got plenty of ideas for a new show. One I think you'll really go for on the back of this. And I'm sure you've got ideas yourself. Let's, whiteboard it. Let's all see what we can come up with. Because at the moment, I'm the most famous woman in New Zealand. I'm the most popular woman in New Zealand. I've had hit TV shows before, so it makes sense, doesn't it? They went, no, that's not how it works in New Zealand. I literally was going, I think it does. I think it does work like that, doesn't it? Because I've won. So everybody loves me at the minute. So let's do it. Nothing.
Unbelievable.
I couldn't believe it.
I feel like you would have, like if you were just coming through now, I feel like it'd be the perfect time for you, because you could have your own YouTube channel, your own TikTok and stuff. Back then, in the what I call, I suppose, towards the end of the golden age of television, you had like a couple of executives making all the decisions. That's why you had like Dominic Bowden hosting every show, or the same faces being recycled over and over again. They wouldn't take any. I was going to say they wouldn't take any risks, but hiring you, I would not see that as a risk at all. I think you're spot on you'd be on it felt like you're on the cover of Women's Weekly or Women's Day every other week.
Yes, and still am. I can still get 2 front covers a year. It was to me. I was like, it's a no risk for you. People are at least going to tune in, because of those hit shows of mine that they enjoyed, plus the Dancing with the Stars, and, all that. So, but nothing. So that did throw me for quite a long time, because I thought, not going to get back on TV then. I better get that notion out of my head if this doesn't get me back on.
Do you? What are your thoughts on ageism? Is ageism a problem?
Yes, I do think, especially for women, and I did think then it's an ageism thing. They said to me at one stage, I won't tell you who it was, but one of the top executives said to me, and I quote, "You're not exactly a dolly bird, are you?" And I was 50.
You should name them.
It's like, right, okay. I think we could have a court case about that now.
You could never say that now.
Ooh, I see.
Unbelievable.
Is that right?
What about Blue Monkey? So you had a song. This was in 1994. So was this at the peak of your sort of infomercial fame?
Yes, it was, yeah.
So you had like a dance song. It sounds almost like a CNC Music Factory sort of song, like a dance song called Get Down, Get Funky, Run Do the Blue Monkey. It was a big fight. How did that come about? Were you just like, you know what, I want to do a song?
Well, I was with a British girlfriend of mine, and she was staying with me, and we drank a bottle of port, and it seemed like a good idea. And we just were like, oh, well, give it a go. So, and I was able to do it. I was in a position where I could do it. I said we could film a video, I could get it recorded there, and here we go. And it was everywhere, and people still remember it. People still talk to me about it. In fact, I was just contacted on Monday, and somebody's asked me if they can use it in a big company. I will say a very, very big company. Have asked if they can use it in a commercial.
Oh, shit. So you get a payday out of it?
Yes.
It's the gift that keeps on.
There you go.
So how much did it cost you at the time? Like what did the video cost? $5,000?
Yeah, nothing. We had the studio anyway, and it was me, and it was just nothing.
So you just how did you get it out at the time? Because this was pre-YouTube.
Yes, I think it was Mikey Havoc and all the BFM radio. They really, for some reason, got behind it, and it was all over the student radio. And then
was it really?
Yeah, it was all over.
Right.
Mikey Havoc and
Jeremy Wells.
Wells, Newsboy he was called then, and they played it all the time. And then so it was picked up by the radio stations, and then I was going on the TV show, I was on the news doing it, I was on 7 Sharp or whatever it was called then doing it. Honestly, it was just ridiculous.
Because it'd be so much easier now, like in terms of distribution and stuff.
Well, exactly, it would be easier now. And then, the record shops had it, which that's how it was then.
They're like CD singles and kiss singles.
Went to shops
oh my God, we're showing our age.
Yeah.
How good. When you look back on that now, like, are you proud of it? Do you cringe a little bit?
I sort of cringe. I can see the humour in it now, and people are always, especially if I do a radio interview, they'll always probably play a couple of lines of it. I'm just like, did you have to? You can go off, people, But you can look back, it's so long ago, it's like, oh yeah, it is funny. But I did a rap with Scribe as well that you can look up one day, which is quite funny.
I was going to ask you about that because was that for C4? What was that? Was this like a stranger danger thing? You guys had a rap battle.
Yeah, we did.
How did that come about?
And that was for Jono and Ben. So they were always doing crazy things on their TV show. I did a few crazy things for them, and that was one of them. And he gave me my Scribe gave me my name. He gave me that, which is an S. See, that's my thing. And Susie P. So some friends, for a joke, they'll go, "Yo, Susie P in the house." That's my ex.
How good! I like Scribe. I want to get him on the podcast. He's had an interesting story as well. But one thing I've learned with this podcast, everyone, no one knows what anyone's going through, but everyone is either going through or will go through some shit.
Or will go through, yes.
What about stand-up comedy? You dabbled in stand-up comedy.
I did that for a year. And I did that because I thought that would get me back on TV as well.
See, I love this stuff. It's just this relentless drive. This keep hammering.
Yes,
one from front of the other.
And probably still is. I thought, God, they've got these stand-up comedians just presenting everything, which they didn't used to have back in the 90s. And all of a sudden I thought, here's a nice show. I could have presented that. Oh, they've got a stand-up comedian who apparently, does the circuits. I thought, okay, that's what I'll do then. If I become a stand-up comedian and I can, go places and be a stand-up comedian, then I can go to TVNZ and say, hey, guess what? I'm a stand-up comedian now.
Put me on 7 days.
And I've won Dancing with the Stars and I've had hit TV shows. So now what are you thinking, eh? No. But yeah, I did. I went to rang the comedy club, Queen Street.
Yeah, the classic.
Yeah, the classic. And I said, I want to be a stand-up comedian. What shall I do? And they said, well, we have a night where you new guys can come along, and you've got to do, I don't know, it was about 6 minutes. Felt like an hour, 6 minutes. You've got to write yourself, and then know it, and then do it, and then do it live on stage. Oh my God, I think that is probably the most terrifying thing I've ever done in my life. Worse than dancing live on TV. Standing there and all those strange people. Plus, I didn't get to be on. I think I got there at about 9 o'clock. And I didn't even get on till about 12:15 or something. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm usually in bed by now. Do you know what I mean? I was doing a 9 to 5 job as well. Going to work for this company.
So you were how old when you tried the stand-up comedy? Like in your 50s or 60s? 50s?
Yeah, late 50s, yeah.
That's so cool.
I know, so I did it. So not only was I the only woman there, backstage in a little green room, I was the only woman. I was the oldest person there. And, and it was just, scummy back room with bits, sofa falling to bits, go on at 12:15. But I did really well, and the guy said to me, come back next week and do it again. And after about 3 weeks, he said, I think you're good enough to enter the talent quest that we do every year.
Wow.
So for the semi-final, you've got to have new material. So I wrote new material, got through the semi-final. Then they said, you've got through to the next, quarter-final it was, then the semi-final. I wrote another act, and that was at the Q Theatre. So I didn't win it, but I thought I did quite well, and I got a lot of bookings. So I travelled quite a lot for about a year, all over the place doing stand-up comedy.
What was your routine? Like, what were the jokes about? Were they like?
Well, I was more talking about, this happened. It wasn't jokes. It was more, I don't know.
Like personal stories.
Yeah, I was talking a lot about menopause at the time because I was going through it, and so there was a lot of talking about that and how it was making me feel, because if there was any hecklers in, I'd be like, don't fucking start with me, mate. I'm going through menopause and rip your head off. So like that.
Were there many sort of hecklers?
Not really. They'd laugh. They'd mainly be like, "Yay, go Suzanne! Yeah, you're doing that." Cool. And I'd be always like, I'd be calling the audience for everything. I'd be like, you've all bought a lot of exercise equipment off me over the years. What the heck are you doing with it? Look at the state of you. are you doing? Hanging your washing on it or something? You know, and it was all like, so I was just slagging them all off.
Right. Oh, I
Really.
like that.
It was, yeah, they loved it.
And did you say what the heck, or did you swear?
No, I'd swear, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even that, because I don't
That would
swear.
get a laugh, yes.
That would get a laugh. Even not proper swearing, I'd just say, you know, what the fuck are you doing with it? Oh, you lazy bastards.
And how's your health been? How's your health been? Oh, you had
good.
Yeah, what happened with you? You were doing like a Zoom motivational talk and you passed out?
Yeah, because I do a lot of keynote speaking,
Right.
but of course the COVID was on.
Yeah.
So this company said, you know, you can do them over Zoom and, you know, we can have a few hundred people watching on the Zoom. And so I thought, that's a great idea. And I must have got about, because I do an hour, I do non-stop for an hour, and I sort of tell my story and, you know, all the ups and downs like we have done now. And next thing I know, I thought to myself, what am I doing on the floor? That's I don't remember. But I think it was a lot of things.
And it was for Ryman Healthcare, right?
It was, yeah.
So how long were you out for? Were you just faint or something?
Apparently, I got up once and they were all still watching, all these people in their rooms watching me live, and I got up, picked myself up off the floor, and I was going, oh, I don't know what happened. I said, oh, sorry, I don't know what's happened there. And now I went there, and then I went again right off the back of the chair. Ooh. And that was when whoever was in charge of the whole thing switched the feed off and rang the ambulance because they knew where I was, sort of things. And my husband, who was out, Patrick, who I'm with now, he was out. We had an outbuilding that he used for his office. Yeah, so I rang him and I said, I think you better come in, because there's an ambulance coming. They thought I'd had a stroke, that's why they rang the ambulance, Ryman Healthcare. But it wasn't, but it was a mixture of things, I don't know, low blood pressure and this and that, you know, and your cholesterol and your fluttering heart, I don't know, but nothing.
But you're good now?
Yeah.
Have you got longevity in your family?
Yeah. Although my mum was 75, which now you say it, if doesn't seem that very old now.
7 more summers.
No.
But you seem very fit, and I don't know your mum from a Barrow side, but you seem very fit and healthy. You've got a lot of energy.
Yeah, I've always had a lot of energy,
Yeah.
so I can't think I'm not a sickly person.
Okay, we'll end with some final questions. What lessons and advice for anyone starting out in business?
Oh, gosh.
So is it a bit heavy? Bit of a heavy turn. I feel like you've probably covered it all off with your different messages and stories. But
I know,
but is
because
there one-
I think the main thing is that things will go wrong, but it doesn't mean you've got to give up. You know what I mean? I think that's what business is there's going to be problems in your business, and you've just got to think, oh, here's a problem. How can we get round this? You know, how can we do things a bit differently? You got to just think outside the square sometimes. And the other thing I think, is...
Oh, please, don't faint on me. We don't want a Ryman incident.
No, we don't. Sometimes you've just got to take that step forward, even if you can't see exactly where it's leading. Do you know what I mean? You can't always have every single step planned out right from A to B. Sometimes it's enough that you just know, if I take this first step, you know, and then see where that leads, because that'll lead you to the next step then. Oh, I'm here. Oh, now I've got to go here. Oh, I see this is happening. I thought this was I didn't think I was going to end up on the TV, you know, but we just kept changing tack quickly. Oh, I'm in the shopping mall. Now I think we're in a pharmacy. Oh, the pharmacies don't want it. Let's get it on TV. Oh, now I'm on TV, but now I want to be here. I think sometimes you just got to be brave. So, you know, yes, you might be feeling scared, but you got to be brave and just take the next step.
Yeah.
You've got to push yourself outside your comfort zone. If you stay inside your comfort zone, I don't think you'll ever be really successful. You've got to do something that scares you a bit, to think, oh, I don't know where this is all going to end up. I don't know if I'm going to be any good at it. What's the worst thing that can happen? Just try, give it a go.
That's such a good attitude.
No.
It's really good. And look where it's got you.
Yeah. I'm still going to be trying new things. Some things I might be good at, some things I might be rubbish at. But it's the old rocking chair test, isn't it? I don't want to be sat in a rocking chair thinking, oh, wish I'd tried that. Do you know why a lot of time where they could not get celebrities on Dancing with the Stars? And I used to try and talk loads of them into it. I'd say, go on Dancing with the Stars, you'll love it. No, I might be terrible. Oh, here we go again. You might not be. And what's the worst that's going to happen? You can learn how to dance. You might learn a new skill, meet some new people, let people see another side of you. I might fall over. Well, you might. You get up again, can't you? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's just fear.
It is fear.
Give it a go.
I probably found fear crippling in my life, and you think, oh, what are people going to think of me?
I know.
But as you get older, you realise actually everyone's thinking about themselves. People aren't actually thinking about you as much as what you would like to think they are.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
And especially, I think that's one thing that you do get with age. You do get that. I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less what they think. To be honest, I'm going to give it a go anyway.
But you've always had a great relationship with the word no.
Yeah.
And with setbacks. Yeah. What about resilience? Can people build resilience or?
Yes, you can do.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, again, doing things you don't feel like doing. People are always hoping that I'm going to give them some big tip on how to sell. How do I sell things? Because I don't like selling things. And unfortunately in business, there's always going to be something you've got to sell. You're selling yourself, you're selling your company, selling your integrity, you're selling your product, you're selling your idea, aren't you? All along, if you're going to have a business or company, at some stage you've got to sell stuff, and they're all like, I don't like doing it. I don't like showing people my product. I don't like picking up the phone. And that's when I'm always saying, I don't care whether you like it or not. You don't have to like it. You just have to do it. I don't like it either. I don't like picking up the phone and saying, hey, guess what? I've got this. No, the reason you've got to learn is nobody likes it. It doesn't matter. Do it anyway. And once people realise that, and we have an old saying, the demonstrator's saying is, and it does always make you feel a lot better. I've trained thousands of salespeople over the years to sell stuff, and I keep saying, somebody always says yes in the end. They always have, and they always will. And once you accept that as like a fact of life, you can do anything. You can just keep saying to yourself, no, I've just got to keep trying, then I've got to keep trying. Yeah. Somebody will always say yes in the end. They always have, they always will. That's what I believe in, totally 100%. And if you go out there, happy, happy, joy, joy, sparkle and shine, eventually you will be successful. You will. I know it.
Yeah, and a friend of mine that's in sales, he told me that every no is a celebration because it's getting you closer to the yes.
Yes, we always think that. Yeah, but people, give up too easy. I've had salespeople before, and I've said, go on, I've been in the mall with them, say it again. Well, I just said it twice and nobody bought anything, so say it again and again and again and again and again until you've got no voice left. Somebody always says yes in the end.
And any regrets?
No.
Not even that joke you made on TV about Chinese food? I didn't actually see this. I watched in preparation for this. I saw a thing you did on TV with Anika Moa, and you referenced it there. Can you remember it?
I think I was
this on live TV or?
Yes. Well, the Good Morning Show used to be live, and I was selling a set of saucepans, and one of the crew, or it could have been Alison who I was with, and Mary Lambie. So back in the day, you'd have to stand there and be quiet. So Mary Lambie would be talking, doing the Good Morning shows. You'd be quiet, and then they'd say, over to you, Suzanne. I'd say, thank you, and the set of pans, and I lift the lid off, and there was a it was a toy, cat. And Alison, who was presenting it with me,
Ali Leonard. Yeah.
She picked it up, because I screamed and went, what the, is that in the pan? And she picked it up and went, she just held it up, laughing, and I said, oh, no, not Chinese food again. I know. Just came out.
Oh, you'd be cancelled for that now.
I know. Just came out.
Well, that's
there
great.
was a lot of stories out at that time. There was a reference to it. There'd been
it was topical.
It was topical. There were stories out there at the time. Right. But yes, live TV.
Geez, what a life it's been, eh?
Yeah,
what a life it's been. So, and we're into the final third now, I guess.
Yes, and I'm more now. I enjoy life every day now. I've always been a big one for enjoy it no matter what you're doing. I've always said that to myself. Just have fun. If you have fun doing it, then it's going to work. You've got to have fun doing what you do. But now every day, more so the older I get, I enjoy even more the simple things in life. And I say to my husband every night in bed, and at first, this is what I used to say, we'd be in bed and I'd say, oh my God, it's going to be a great day tomorrow. And in the beginning, he'd say, oh, why, what's happening? And I'd say, I don't know, it'll just be a great day, won't it? Whatever happens. If we wake up in the morning, that's a great day. But every day we're like, this is great. And I have a thing all day long. I keep saying, oh, thank you, God, thank you, universe, for my health and safety. Oh, thank you, God, thank you, universe, for this. All day long, I'm grateful for the sunshine or the rain or a butterfly or the dog. Look at him, your old dog there. I know.
He's beautiful.
I'm grateful for my little rescue dog, Maddie. And I'm just so happy and grateful for everything, especially for my health and my safety. I just feel truly blessed. So I'm really enjoying life.
I think that's a great place to end it.
Yeah.
Suzanne Paul, thank you so much. I can't believe this is the first time we've met.
Not me, but
yeah.
you're right. We should have met before. We've both been, doing this a long time.
Yeah, but it's been great to sit down and pick your brains today. It's been really cool.
What about you? Are you happy?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been on a gratitude journey as well, and it's like there's that saying I say this on the podcast quite often. There's that saying that comparison is the theft of joy, which is true.
Yeah.
But you actually, and this is something I read about you. Like you did one of those intrepid journey shows, and you went to China.
I did, yeah.
You don't have to look far to find people that are a lot happier with a lot less.
Yeah.
So every morning now, this is something I got from a guy called Jay Shetty that I follow. He said you have to decide it's going to be a good day. And you help it along. You can't just hope it's going to be a good day. You have to make it a good day sometimes.
You're right. That's me every day. I choose to be happy. I don't wait and see what happens, to decide what mood I'm going to be in. Every morning, choose to be happy.
Also, I've had some people on the podcast who have just been through some terrible adversity. Miyamoto, who you know,
I know
had her on the podcast. She was in a horrible domestic violent relationship for a decade. I've had Kelsey Waghorn, who was a guide on Whakaari, White Island, when the eruption went off.
Oh, yes.
She's got severe burns. And
oh, my goodness.
had a lady around here yesterday who's just ran a marathon last November, then went in for some routine blood tests the next month, and now she's found out she's got stage 4 colon cancer, and for survival it's going to be on chemo for the rest of her life. And it's like these sort of things give you a bit of perspective. And
yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do. Yeah, thank you.
But it's been bloody great. Please keep in touch.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. I love you and I love your work. Thanks, Suzanne Paul.
Thank you.